Hello, my name is Matt Finney, and this is my final video for Admg 374 project management and my lessons learned from the final project. Before I get into the lessons learned, I want to talk a little bit about my background, I guess, and my experience with projects. My typical experience has been focusing on kind of the three key aspects of project management, would just be, time, budget, and scope. And obviously those are very important, but I think what I learned from this final report for this class was that there's more that goes into those three, kind of some foundational things that build those up. I had three lessons learned from the final project. First was risk management, second was HR management, and the third was stakeholder analysis and managing expectations. So I think those three things for me really roll up and help manage the time, budget, and scope. With that, I'll go through each one of those lessons learned one by one and kind of summarize how I think I can apply them to future projects. So the first was risk management. I think sometimes this happens inherently. We don't really realize it though, but what I learned with the final project was that by identifying the risks and being real explicit about what they are, what impact they have on the project or could have on the project, what the probability is, and then having a mitigation plan. I think it makes a big difference in terms of keeping things on time, on budget, and within scope, really all three of those, because you can prevent things from happening, prevent risk from becoming issues. And I think that's a big lesson learned. It's not something I've done formally in the past. We have a real formal risk register, and I think that's going to be an important aspect of project management for me going forward. I think it applies to any project, large or small. I think the small ones, maybe it's a little more informal in terms of identifying the risks, and but just being a little bit more explicit about it. And it really applies for large projects, right? No doubt that it's an important aspect of managing the project and making sure it stays on track and limit the risks. So the second lesson learned for me was the HR management. I think that's just something that's probably, my guess is probably overlooked quite a bit in terms of managing people. Make sure they're in the right role in the project, they have the right tools, they understand the objectives, they're working well as a team. You're not just delivering. I think this is what I really learned was that you're not just delivering a project, but you're really building a team. And building a good cohesive team is going to help the project be successful. So I think going forward on any projects that I'm part of is really focus on how well is the team working together. Do we have the right people in the right positions, and really focus on how well is the team working together prior to really digging into the deliverables and the specific actions and tasks assigned to them. So the third lesson I learned was stakeholder analysis. I think this is important to be explicit, kind of like risk management. I think it inherently happens, but to be explicit about it, document it, understand what each stakeholder is looking for, what their influence is on the project, what power they have over the project, and have strategies to address them, whether it's weekly status meetings, keeping them informed through status updates, whatever the case might be. That's something important to do. It happens. I think same thing too with risk management, and maybe I could have kind of put those two together a little more. Was large projects, and it probably needs to be much more formal. Smaller projects happens, I think, inherently anyway, but important to document it, and I think it just helps create a little better understanding and clarity about the actions being taken. So just kind of to summarize all that, the three lessons learned I had were risk management, HR management, stakeholder analysis, and really I think the way I'm looking at it is those three are kind of the underlying foundation for making sure that you remain on time, on budget, and within scope of your project. So with that, I will sign off from ADMG 374 Project Management. Thanks.